I was a kid, sometimes I'll watch other people dancing and try to turn in with my own body to what it feels like to move in that way. Because I miss those feelings so much. Now I can't perceive where my legs are in space. I was transferring onto the toilet the other day, and I was wearing socks, which is the worst because it means that my feet are sliding all around and my legs were not cooperating at all. One was sliding this way, one was sliding that way. It's like Bambi, who slides around on the ice. That's what it's like. And I can't help but get utterly frustrated with them. And that is such a huge departure from the relationship I had with my body before I was injured. To be a stranger to your body that way. Why did you climb that tree? The Dalai Lama once tweeted, yes, tweeted, if tragedy strikes, don't lose hope. Transform it to an opportunity to make things better. Other than providing wisdom at 140 characters or less, this quote isn't surprising. What is surprising is that we increasingly ignore his sentiment. The Atlantic, July 6, 2016 claims, millennials fear failure more than any previous generation and views challenges, obstacles, and deviations from what we had planned for ourselves as crisis rather than opportunities. However, whether it's school, careers, relationships, or even walking, we must face and embrace these tragedies because it is in them that we find something better. Falling Slowly by Lyena. I remember waking up October 4th, 2002, a Friday. I had spent the night at my friend Dean's house. You see, our relationship was very confusing. I had known him for a couple of years, but we only dated a few months. Dean wasn't the guy I thought I wanted. I had this list, qualities I admire in my ideal partner, and that person was not Dean. Yet, I couldn't seem to walk away. But here I just spent the night with him. I remember his walls were brown and he had olive green curtains. Yeah, Dean likes things the color of dirty. There's nothing that brings home the reality of a spinal cord injury, like being in a place where every patient has one. You know, I was afraid that Dean would stay for the wrong reasons. Out of guilt. You know, he watched the nurses like a hawk to see what they did for me. How they moved my body, fixed my pillows, washed my hair. He watched every move so that he could do those things for me. Before October 4th, 2002, I didn't understand my attractions at all. I remember waking up and I'm making love with him on his bed, having what I can only describe as the best orgasm of my life. I thought, oh, holy shit. That one tops them all. Having to admit to another person I'm paralyzed is much harder than just knowing in my own mind. I remember the first night in the hospital. Nothing had been done to evacuate my bowels, so that meant that a nurse technician, a total stranger, was gonna spend 30 to 45 minutes using a finger to stimulate my rectum repeatedly, to trigger a contraction and encourage my bowels to clear itself. Contrary to normal policy, it was a man. My way of dealing with that was to simply become determined that I was gonna get better. That I was going to be the exception to the rule, and I wasn't going to entertain any other possibility. October 4th, 2002. We had planned to go hiking. I'm trying to get Dean talking so that I don't have to be in my head going through deliberations I'd had for weeks. Is this who I even want? I needed to know. Permanently. We get to the trailhead and I spot this oak tree. I thought, I'll feel better in the tree. I was 25 feet up, my left hand resting on this branch. Dean starts telling this long joke, and I just want to be thinking my thoughts, and so I'm waiting and waiting for the punchline, and the branch broke. I realized I'm going to go down. You know, it's remarkably easy to let go when it's clear you don't have another choice. All of that noise in my head went silent. Euphoria came over me, and I became interested in everything. Leaves, branches, color of the bark. It felt like I was hanging in the air for minutes. It couldn't have been more than seconds. And then the planet shot up and hit me! The strangest thing was that I had the sensation of my legs above my body. I felt this incredibly smooth surface, and I said, "What is that?" Color drained out of Dean's face, and he said, "It's your leg." We call 911. I'm staring at the leaves, and I can hear sirens. I'd had the best orgasm of my life 4 hours before, and then lost all sensation. I had been instantly paralyzed from the waist down. My surgeon asked me to check. I knew. I would talk to Dean every day, but I didn't want him to come. I said, "Don't you dare!" He wore me down, but I wanted to control his visit, so I had my hair done. I was sitting up when he walked in. And I started to cry. He spent every night in my hospital bed. We were kissing, and there was no plan to make love, but I was so hungry for his touch, for his smell, for the way that his body feels. It reminded me that there could still be something so beautiful. Every time that he would talk about the future or wanting to get married, I would say, "You know, I probably can't have children." Or, "A spinal cord injury takes 10 years off your life." But what happened is what always happened between Dean and I. His persistence trumped my ambivalence. 4 years after the accident, Dean and I got married. I gave birth to our son, and there is not a day that I am not so deeply in love with this man. Why did you climb that tree? I ended up with a life so much greater than before I was injured. And this is what it took. Okay. I am adored to the ends of the earth by my husband. I have a beautiful, healthy son. I can't begrudge it given where I'm standing. Even if I'm not standing.
Okay, so a couple things.